Alright mga kaibigan, tuloy-tuloy po tayo sa Power and Play. I think we're getting ready to bring to you, well, alam nyo, uso nga yung nagbabalik na. Last week, nakausap natin yung Pure Foods Big 3 na si Jojo Lastimosa, Alvin Patrimonio, at saka si Jerry Cotillera. Well, today, sinubukan natin kunin lahat po ng mga nakasama ng 1989 San Miguel Beer Grand Slam. But obviously, ang dalawa sa pinakamalaking arkitekto noon ay makakasama natin ngayon. Walang iba kundi ang kanilang coach ng panahon na yon and still the current coach of the Meralco Bolts, Coach Norman Black, at ang kanilang superstar back then, si Ramon Fernandez na ngayon po ay PSC Commissioner. Magandang umaga. Good morning, Coach Norman. Good morning, Comon.
Good morning, Noli.
Good morning, Mom. How are you? Noli,
so much.
Why aren't you wearing your cap, Norman?
Yeah, because I am having white hair, Mon, kaya ganyan.
I need one.
Me too, a little bit. You're Norman, you're blaring our sides, you know? How are you, buddy?
Hello. Okay, let me begin this. This is going to be exciting. This is going to be fun. Pero unahin ko muna, in your capacity, in your individual capacities, Mon, obviously, next sa Monday, sa PSC, we're already going to be GCQ. Is it going to be full force now for the PSC on Monday?
No, still there are going to be some just the key essential employees, staff that are going in. You must remember, Noli, that our head office is just beside the Rizal Memorial Coliseum, and at the back is the Ninoy Aquino Multipurpose Stadium. Both are COVID facilities.
Oh,
so medyo stricto ng masyado doon in that area.
I just want to get your reaction, Mon, about the stipend. According sabi sa news na the PSC daw will cut the stipend or allowances ng athletes, and ang mga foreign coaches will be ending their contract. Ano ba ang development dyan, Commissioner Mon?
Yeah, with regards to the coaches and the athletes, we want them to be receiving still their allowances all the way to December. So to be able to do that, to sustain that, we have to cut it to 50%. Nico, you must remember, Noli, the source of their allowances and their allowances is from PAGCOR, and we know that since the middle of March, PAGCOR has stopped operations, no? So we will have to base their allowances on what we receive from the PSC will receive from PAGCOR. No?
Okay. So hopefully ma-restore ito pagka nabuo na ang contribution ng PAGCOR.
Definitely.
All right. Coach Norman, let me just go to you very quickly. I know it's I'm sure you're tired of waiting.
Yes.
And still don't have any news about the PBA. But how is the team? How are you keeping the boys sharp and in shape during this entire pandemic?
Well, we've been keeping in touch with the players, Noli, and making sure as much as possible that they try to stay in shape during the break. We have our trainers giving them programs that they have to follow depending on where they live, because what they can do and cannot do, it really depends on whether they live in a village or whether they live in a condo. So the programs have been patterned for the players depending on where they are staying right now. And of course, the players report back to the trainers exactly their weights and the different training that they're doing. They send back videos of the training that they're doing. In addition to that, we're raring to go. I mean, as soon as we get the okay, we'll have rapid testing for our players, and we'll, try to get back on the court as quickly as we are allowed. That's really the thing. Once the government allows us to get back to practice, we'll be ready to go immediately. So if they say we can practice tomorrow, we'll be back on the court 2 days from now. So it really depends on when they give us the okay. But I think the main thing we've been doing right now is taking care of the safety of the players and the safety of their families to make sure they're all okay. And then as soon as we're given the okay to play, we'll be back on the court.
Okay. Let me go to, let me go now to your careers back in the 80s, especially during those times, good days, where the two of you were part of that 1989 Grand Slam team of San Miguel Beer. Last week we had the trio of Alvin, Jerry, and Jojo on the show. But before I go to the 1989 year, in 1981, Norm, you came here as an import. You played for Teflon. Obviously, a lot of things have been written. So much has been talked about your coming here. But let me ask you, what was your first impression of Ramon Fernandez, who at the time was perhaps a guy who was already dominating the league? Let me ask you first.
What's it, Norman?
When you first played against him, what was your first impression, Norm?
My first year against Mon, I wasn't too happy with him. He probably doesn't even remember this. He actually gave me a shot in my groin area, and I ended up chasing him down the court, because I really wanted to get to him. But my experience with the Ramon and also with the Toyota team was they were the best team in the league along with Crispa. They were the team that everybody wanted to beat. Mon Fernandez was the best player in the league at that time. We actually beat them my first year. He might not even remember this. I played for Teflon because he didn't lose too much with Toyota, but I played for Teflon. It was the first time ever Teflon had beaten Toyota. And that was a great experience. I remember the article the next day in the papers was early Christmas for Teflon because we had beaten Toyota, so we had a Christmas present early. But my experience with Mon was he was tough. He was talented. He could really play the game. There's always a lot of talk about who's the best player between Ramon Fernandez and Fajardo, and I'm very, prejudiced and biased towards Mon. But he was just multi-talented. I mean, it wasn't the fact that he could just score, but he led the league in almost every category. So it was tough playing against him. It was tough playing against the Toyota teams.
All right. Mon, on the other hand, how would you rank Norman among the imports that you ever guarded? I mean, you guarded many terrific imports, and obviously Norman was one of those that was assigned to you. Pero how did you find playing against Norman the very first time you played against him?
Well, he wasn't named Mr. 100% for nothing. So you really have to be really tough and in shape to run after him and guard him. But of course, it's really impossible to stop him. You want to limit him, that's the best you can do, I suppose. So.
All right. Let's move to 1988. Itong taon na to, this was the year where you started as rivals, you ended up as teammates, and that was the time when mid-season Ramon joined San Miguel Beer. Was there a honeymoon period between the two of you? When Mon came to the team, Norman, was there some kind of, I'll give you a break first? Or were you concerned, the two of you, were you concerned about chemistry issues for the team? I'll start with you, Norman.
Well, I always tell this story because I do a lot of public speaking and, I talk about Mon a lot. And, in 1988 first conference, we actually beat Pure Foods in the championship. I was an import. I played against David Thurkill. Mon was the coach, just like myself. We were both player coaches. And we played against each other in that series. It was a 7-game series and went right down to the wire. I mean, anybody could have won the series. And San Miguel ended up coming out on top. And in between conferences, I get a call from Mr. Nono Ibaseta, who was our manager at that time, or actually he was the board of governor. And he told me that we're thinking about trading for Mon Fernandez. And of course, that trade took place because we had Abid Udavin, who also was a very, very good player and helped us win a couple of championships. He helped us win the third conference in 87, the first conference in 88. And all of a sudden, we're going to trade him. But when I sat down with Mr. Ibaseta, he explained to me that he thought in the long run that Mon would be a better fit for the team. So we made the trade. And of course, when Mon came in, we had been to war for the last 7 years. So, of course, we're guarding each other. We're calling each other names. We're battling each other every year. And all of a sudden, he's going to be my teammate. But I always tell this story because I remember when Mon first joined, and he might not remember this, but we actually practiced in Morocco gym during this time. Where I am right now, I'm still in Morocco at this moment. But we practiced in Morocco gym, and I remember talking to Mon the first time, trying to explain that, hey, we've been to war with each other, but now we got to win some championships together. And I remember him saying, hey, let's get it done. Let's get it done. Let's go out and get it done. Let's win as many championships as we can. And it helped a lot because he has always been a winner. And people don't realize, I think Mon has over 20 championships in the PBA as a player.
Yeah.
So, hey, third conference, we played against Bobby Parks and Derek Rowland in Formula Shell in the championship. We won that third conference. Of course, the rest is history in 1989.
Yeah.
Mon and his teammates went on to win the Grand Slam. The height limits for imports was set at 6'1" and 6'3", so I was not able to play as a player, but I was coaching that team. So it ended up being a great trade for us. A great trade for San Miguel.
Okay. Let me ask you, Mon. You know, obviously you came in San Miguel at mid-season, Mon, and at the time the core of the San Miguel team was still the NCC. They had a terrific lineup then. Did you think at the time that when you came in, this is now my team as an alpha dog, or were you concerned about chemistry at all?
Not really, Noli. We players have that certain understanding among one another. We have that, what do you call it? How do I say it? What do I say it? But we have that certain chemistry that would be easy to work with everybody. Basically, the major problem with regards to chemistry is the ego of the players. No, so we were just lucky. We were just lucky that everybody their head was in the right place. So chemistry was really never my problem. Playing for 4 or 5 different teams, no. Maybe perhaps with management there were some kinks, but seldom the players, Noli.
Okay. Well, you know, given your experience, I'm sure napakadali ng transition because you've been with several teams even before you got to San Miguel. Now, let's go to 1989, Norman and Comramon. You had a winning percentage of over 70%, 50-21 record during that year. You were so dominant. What was so special with that team? Unahin kita muna, Mon. What was so special with the 1989 team of San Miguel Beer?
Well, it was complete. I was very lucky that I joined the team that was complete from management down to the ball boy. You know, everybody was in one page all the time. So without any pun intended, we will joke around na maski na ball boy ang mag-coach noong team na yon, magsa-champion no? Without pun intended, as I said, no. It was so complete, no. And the boys, the NCC boys, were so disciplined. We got their training right from Ron Jacobs. And me, I would like to believe that me and Norman were lucky to be in the team.
You had a terrific team, Norman. Elmer Reyes, Franz Pumaren. You got Alfie Almario, the late Alfie Almario. There was Samboy, Alvin, Tonichi Oturi, Ives, Hec Calmo, of course, Ricky Cui. And then you've got your veterans. You've got Mon, Ricky Brown, Jeffrey Graves, and your rookies, Ato, Agustin, and Bob Jose. That was a team, and even Nelson Asaidono, right? Back in 1989. So you know, that was a team that looked like a team that was so solid. Were you expecting a Grand Slam to be those?
Well, we won the first conference, and we won the All Filipino. But we had a bump in the road in the third conference. We brought in a guy by the name of Keith Smart to be our import, because we were not only lucky with the local players, and of course we did have the nucleus of the NCC team, and Of course, Mon was in. He reinforced us. Ricky Brown was there. We had a rookie in Otto Augustine who ended up being a great player. But at the same time, we had very good imports. I mean, Michael Phelps was no joke. I mean, every time he touched the ball, the crowd would already start yelling 3 because they knew he was going to make a 3-pointer. He was that good. And then in the third conference, we had Keith Smart. But I believe it was about our third or fourth practice with Keith Smart, he tore his groin muscle. And all of a sudden, the Grand Slam was up in the air. Nobody knew if we were going to be able to win the Grand Slam because of his injury. And we got lucky. I mean, we brought in a guy by the name of Enos Watley.
Enos Watley, that's right.
Super efficient. I mean, not only did he have a great attitude, he worked hard in practice, but he rarely made turnovers, and he shot about 60% from the floor. I mean, somebody who was tailor-made for this team. And with his entrance into the team, he actually led us to the championship in that third conference. But it was not easy. Believe me, Mon knows that. It was tough all along the way. I mean, maybe we lost 21 games, but we could have lost a lot more. And the team really worked hard in practice. And I want to just comment on something Mon said. One of the things that really helped us was the chemistry of the team. The players got along well. They worked hard in practice every day. Fernandez worked hard in practice every day. I mean, you know, you talk about all those shots. I don't know all the names they had, the elegant shot, the Kili shot, the whatever, the El Presidente shot, all those shots. But Mon used to practice those shots in practice. I mean, it wasn't just happening in the game. And he led by example. Everybody worked hard in practice, and it ended up being that because we did get along well, I don't think we had any instances in practice or off the court where we had any problems. Every now and then I had to get on top of Eva's Dignadice, but other than that, we were pretty smooth as far as how the team would run. And you could see it on the court. When these guys got on the court, I mean, they really played well together. Offensively, we didn't really have that much of an offense. We just scored. Defensively, we weren't really that, structured. We just defended and helped one another. And that was really the key to the team.
All right. I mean, I want to put your Grand Slam in proper perspective. During that year, there were only 6 teams in the PBA. And, obviously, previous year, there was only 6 teams as well. And Pure Foods came in as a replacement for Tanduay at that time. Now, did you feel any kind of implicit urgency among the players and the teams to play better? Because obviously the PBA was struggling prior to that year, and then a shot in the arm with the entrance of super rookies, and then a Grand Slam. Was that a big turning point for the PBA, you think, Mon? And was there like an urgency na maglaro tayo na mahusay kasi baka namumroblema ang PBA at this time?
Yes, and not really, because we all know how crazy we Filipinos are about basketball, Noli. No? If one league dies, another league will usually really come up. No, we all know how popular basketball and how much it is followed here in the Philippines. But of course, there was a change of the political environment at the time. Bago pa lang, everybody was adjusting. So, but I never was really worried that the PBA would die a natural death, no? Considering that the PBA, the team exposure in the league, really helped them to become household word in the community. The return of their investment as far as advertising is concerned was really that high, no? So I wasn't really worried.
Okay. No. When you look back during that year, and again putting the Grand Slam in perspective, what did the Grand Slam mean to the PBA and to your career as well?
Well, you mentioned about the 6 teams. Obviously, I came in '81, so I saw the transition there, not just on the basketball court, but also off the basketball court with all the things that were happening in the Philippines at that time. I'll just put it this way, Noli. Just look at the old games and check out the crowds.
I know.
The place was jam-packed. I mean, you couldn't breathe in those gyms. We were playing in Phil Sports at that time, Phil Sports Arena, and you couldn't breathe in there. You would come in 2 hours early before the game would start. I mean, the first game in the upper area would already be full. I mean, people would get there to the games early. They really supported the league. Remember, we had a lot of personalities in the league. Mon was one of them, but remember, we had Sonny Jaworski also, who had a big following with the Ginebra San Miguel team, and the people really supported the league. What was good about the '89 season for the league was basically, like Mon mentioned earlier, the team of Ron Jacobs, the NCC team, was brought in by Dandine Kawanko, and when they were brought in, that nucleus stayed together. That's the team that I coached, okay? And they were young guys. So all of a sudden you had the veterans that came from the early 80s, like Mon and Sonny and some other guys, but then now you had these younger guys coming in along with Jojo Lastimosa, Jerry Castanera, Alvin Patrimonio. All these guys were coming in. So you had the mix of these great veterans who were so popular coming in with all these young guys, and all of a sudden the league was in a situation where it actually could explode again and become very, very popular.
Well, you know,
Noli,
obviously,
to add to that, that's why they formatted the All-Stars to rookies and sophomores against the juniors and the seniors. No,
the veterans.
That's rookie talents came in during that period.
Yeah. All right. You know, now we're talking about that team, the 1989 team, was truly a remarkable feat. Do you believe that to be considered as in the conversation as the greatest team, a team must win a Grand Slam, or overbloated? I mean, it's overhyped. Just that in that particular conversation of being the greatest team, one of the greatest teams in the PBA, Mon. Kailangan ba manalo ng Grand Slam?
Well, to be really considered a great team, you've got to experience winning a Grand Slam, definitely. As Norman said earlier, it's so damn hard to win a championship, no? There are a lot of factors that must be in place, no? Usually, sa experience ko in the 20 years that I played, usually ang nakakapigil ng Grand Slam are injuries to key players, import selection, and one of the factors also that I failed to mention that we were lucky with Norman as coach there, he can talk to understand the imports. He knows which imports we need for the team, and he can talk to them in the same language. No? So that was a big advantage also for us. He knew their history even way back in the States. So we get the good import, so except for perhaps with what happened to Keith Mart, the injuries. No? But as far as quality imports is concerned, that we're nakakalamang kami because of Norman also.
Norman?
Well, yeah, I know there's a lot of debate about the current San Miguel team, that they're a great team, but they haven't won the Grand Slam yet. And whether you like to admit it or not, that is the standard. I mean, you have to win 3 straight conferences for you to win a Grand Slam and for you to be known as a Grand Slam team. You can ask Baby DeLupin, he's not here anymore, but you can ask Tommy Manotoc, Tim Cohn. Any coach who's coached a Grand Slam team knows how difficult it is to win a Grand Slam. We know the pressure involved, that even if you win those first 2 conferences, if you don't win that 3rd one, you basically didn't do anything. That's the way people feel about it. So, yeah, it takes a lot of greatness to win 3 straight. I mean, in the case of Mon, we actually won more than 3 straight. I think we won 4 straight.
That's right.
We won the last conference in 1988, and then we won the Grand Slam. So,
and the first time, Norman, the first time that San Miguel won the All Filipino, I'm proud of that.
That's correct. Mon is correct about that. That was the first time we won the All Filipino, and that was my first All Filipino title at the same time.
Yeah. Well, guys, I have run out of time, and I have so many questions to ask you right here. But our show is not enough to relive all your greatness. But I'd like to thank you, and I'm sure we'll have a second part to this. I'd like to thank you for your time today, and we'll continue talking, especially when the crisis is over. Maraming salamat, Mon and Norman, for your time.
Good to see you, Mon.
Good to see you, Norman. See you around when this bullshit is over.
Okay. All right, Noli. Thank you. Huh?
Bye.
Take care. Stay safe, everybody.